Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Frida Says Word podcast. I'm really excited today. I hope you can hear it in my voice. I'm super excited today because I have a really amazing guest, Chimira. Say hi.
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah. We're going to talk a lot about a lecture that Chimira did. What it was 2023, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
2023.
And um I'm actually not going to say too much. Just listen to the episode and you're going to get what I mean.
Patience, everyone.
Yeah. So the the first thing I ask every guest is what their values are. So what are your top three values?
Top three values. Um, so when you say top three values, like in that I expect in other people or like in myself, like
Things you live by.
things I live by. Okay, I live by empathy.
Okay.
And I wouldn't just say empathy, I'd say vulnerability. Like I'm like that's a value of mine. I'm very vulnerable and I lead by vulnerability. And I think by way of vulnerability it has to come to honesty. And honesty is ever changing for me. So I know that I'm always going to try to be honest even as things change. Because my honest opinion in one moment might not
Or
be
be,
my permanent opinion.
yeah.
But it's honest to that moment.
Yeah.
And I guess shedding transformation because I don't believe in anything stagnant or permanent. I think everything is ever changing, including myself. So I'm always transforming in honesty through vulnerability.
Oh,
Yeah.
transforming. I have to remember that for the figure section.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
Okay. And how did you come to value those things?
How do I come to value those things? Okay, when it comes to honesty, I feel like as like growing up I used to lie like a lot to my parents. I think there's a lot of us in this country that grew up as liars.
Yeah.
You know, like you get in trouble or like I'll break something and my immediate reaction is to
Into the
just lie
sky,
about
yeah.
it. Like there's no way like, and the funniest thing is my parents will always be like, you should have just told us the truth. Like we're punishing you for lying. And I always be like, that's cap. Like you said, you're lying to me because
Yeah.
I know if like I would have just said straight up I did this, you would
Mm-hmm.
still punish me or
Yeah.
you'd still shame me. But I guess something they did actually put in my head is like, okay, the more you lie, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
So I think I have like a lot of anxiety around like lying or like trying to like it's just like I think it's just better to be honest about the situation, about
Yeah.
conflict and try to address it
Yeah.
because I feel very deeply. So even that thing of vulnerability, I think I've always been a vulnerable child. I've always been an emotional child. And to be vulnerable is not just to be soft, it's also to be angry.
Yeah.
Like anger is very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because it brings out a side
Point
of
of
you.
view, yeah.
Yeah. And growing up, I was always either angry, upset. Like I was just always expressive about my feelings, and people would say I had like an attitude problem. But yeah, now I come to like realize that actually my vulnerability is a great strength because it makes me speak up. It makes me like I can't hide from what I feel, and a lot of the times you feel more than you know.
Yeah. You feel more than you know.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
Okay, could you give us a backstory? Who is Chimera and what does she stand for?
Um, so as much as I don't mind being referred to as she, I'd like to be referred to as they during this conversation.
Okay.
Um, because for me, like when I refer to myself like as they, is mainly or even we, is mainly to say that I do not stand alone in anything that I know right now. Like even my ability to speak like this really comes from ancestors. Like I come from a line of people that had poetry in their language. Like a lot of our history was orature. And
Yeah.
orature is such like an incredible practice because we're all sharing our history in such a poetic and beautiful way that's just flowing off of your tongue like water. Like and it's like, oh, that's what makes it so musical. That's what makes it so like embodied because with orature comes singing and with singing comes dancing and celebration. But yeah, I say that Chimira is. I feel like I have to refer to the meaning of my name because my name is Igbo and Spanish because my mom is Venezuelan, and that's also very important to my identity. But yeah, Chi means God, your personal God, and Mira is to see or to watch. So my dad was thinking of the name Chinele, which is she sees, and when he gave me that name. So I think Chimira is really someone that's continuously fearing that they cannot know enough because I want to
To
know.
know
I want to
everything, know
see everything.
everything,
Like
yes.
my eyes are always wide. Like my baby picture, my eyes are just huge because I feel like I just want to see. I want to know. And sometimes knowing is very painful as
Painful,
well.
yeah.
Like I think some people are scared of seeing
Thing.
what they don't want to see. But for me, I'm like, "Ah, rip the band-aid, baby. I want to see. I want to like, yeah.
I get that. Seeing is painful.
Very, very painful.
Sometimes I be like, I'd rather just like no. Like I'd rather just like
Ignorance
not
is
know.
bliss.
Ignorance is actually bliss.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk about your lecture process and practice art as a freedom choreography.
Hmm.
Could you give us a summary of what you talked about?
Oh my God, that's such a difficult question.
Or if you could say like key
Okay.
highlights.
Um. So I grounded that lecture in the concept of an Umbari shrine. And Umbari is important to Igbo people because there was once a time where spirit workers would be divinated through an oracle and they'd be chosen in a village to work over 1 year on a type of a shrine. And this shrine was actually a representation of the time. So like they'd fill up the shrine with like images on the wall, statues, like so many different forms of arts that all reflected the society. So even later Umbaris had like colonizers inside of them, like statues of white
The
men,
people,
and
oh,
like even mockery in a way.
mm-hmm.
But it was just to show what was happening.
Happening, yeah.
And a lot of the things that were made were all organic as well. So when they finally create this shrine, there'd be like a general ritual with the village where people come, bring their offerings, they celebrate, and at the end of the celebration, the spirit worker has to flee from the shrine. They are no longer to look at the shrine, and the shrine is actually an offering to the earth, aka the earth goddess. So yeah, it's an offering to the earth, and the idea is that over time, or I don't really think there's much research about what happens to the shrine over time,
Yeah.
but my assumption is that animals will start to enter the shrine, like things will start to
The decay,
decay,
yeah.
like eventually it'll just transform into something else. And I can even imagine what kind of a shelter that shrine is. But anyways, the lecture is pretty much around this concept of a shrine and my graduation piece from my master's degree where I was given a space and I wasn't really interested in the idea of like art as a stagnant thing. I believe in art as something that moves and is a catalyst for change. So I was trying to think of a way to embody that space and activate it to make it something. So I was thinking of myself as a spirit worker in a way, and I kind of created a shrine. And in that shrine, people brought many offerings. People did card readings. I was recording poetry from the space. Like I was making music. So it was really just like I had space to just hang out with my friends that I cared
Mm,
about, and like that the practice of occupation was art itself. So when even the examiners and people came to examine the space and give me my marks, they couldn't really feel comfortable in this space because it really felt like a sanctuary. So yeah, I just talk about arts as like this process-based practice or as opposed to a product-based practice, because Igbo people is not about the finished piece, it's about the
yeah.
process and the
Process.
journey towards that. Like that's where the real magic lies. And I was interested in healing myself also through arts and music because I believe it is a healing thing. That's why we love it so much.
Yeah. Okay. How has the culture you've been around contributed to who you are now? And meaning like growing up in Nigeria and then living in Europe.
Mm, so I feel like as much as I'd love to say, oh, growing up in Nigeria exposed me to like an African identity, and that's all positive. No, it did not. Like growing up in Nigeria actually rooted a lot of ignorance beliefs in my head. Like I was not a conscious person when I was here. Like I grew up very much like in the system, in the shit stem, as Lemmy Garioku would say. But yeah, I grew up very much like at certain moments, like I didn't really believe in the idea of like tattoos. I didn't believe like in a lot of things. I was also very religious at some points. Like I went through heavy Christian phases, but even those Christian phases were rooted in shame. And like, God, why do I sin all the time? Like, the idea that like I'm this like this continuous sinner. And like even just knowing that growing up, a huge fear of mine was like premarital sex. Like that's the thing that will send me to hell. Like I was always scared of hell. Like that was just the main thing in my head. Like hellfire, hellfire, fear, fear, shame, shame. Like in primary school, we grew up saying shame, 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 shame. You don't want to be shamed today. Like I grew up in a shame-based society. Also around a lot of violence because leaving Abuja, because I was born in Enugu till I was 4 years old. I think that also heavily shaped me in the sense that my house was in front of a stream. I grew up around a lot of animals. I didn't even like animals, so that's another thing, right? As much as I grew up in the east, I did not like those animals. Why? Because I was also learning to fear them. Like, let's say there might be snakes. They'll always be like, snake, snake, be careful. Or like the dogs that we had were security dogs. They were not pet dogs, though. The name of my dogs were Rock and Stone. Like, just know that anytime I come home, I pretend I was sleeping, so they'll carry me out of the car so that those dogs and I will not cross road. Like, like I grew up in a way that even growing up in Enugu, I didn't fully connect to the land, but I feel like the land still shaped me because I grew up like playing all the time. And then moving to Abuja was a different experience because I was more exposed to like an international community by way of my parents as well, because they had a lot of international friends, and we grew up around like different embassies, diplomats. Like I knew Venezuelans. Like Venezuelans lived in my estate for crying out loud. Like nice. I knew Mexicans growing up. I knew like we had Indians in our school. Like we went to primary school together. We had Indians, we had Syrians. Like grew up around a lot of different type of people, and I felt very exposed to the world because my parents were also, we were fortunate enough to travel all the time. So that's what also shaped me. Like I wasn't just confined to Nigeria. So I knew there was a big world, and I used to dream big. Like, because I also grew up watching like Disney, Nickelodeon, like Cartoon Network, everything. Like I watched so much TV, and I loved it as well because I was just a big dreamer. Like I was a big like in my head, Hannah Montana, I'm her, like, that type of thing. Like, I dreamt in that kind of way. And funnily enough, like, growing up, I don't think I ever saw a future in Nigeria. Like, I just saw a future, like, living my life. Like, like, I didn't have a small idea of a future. Like, I grew up with a very big idea of that. But still, I left Abuja. Like, so when I left from Enugu, I grew up in Abuja from the age of 5 years old all up till when I was, like, 13. And that was till I was, like, midway through secondary school. And that was during a time of like Boko Haram and a lot of terrorism. Like the Bring Back Our Girls had happened 2 years prior. So that was an era in Abuja where everyone was always receiving alerts of danger, danger, danger. Like people, even you talked about Millennium Park being a place you like to go to. That was closed for some time. I remember when they said they're kidnapping people in Millennium Park. Like there was many that was such an occasion where everything was closing and a lot of people were living in fear of where to go and where to be. And there was actually a bomb blast that happened at Banex. And my mom and sister were there during that incident. And it's crazy because when that thing happened, right, I remember hearing about it from them. Like Malika saw dead bodies. Like they had just been, like my sister had just been picked up from school. And I remember thinking, oh my God, can you imagine? Like we saw, but I wasn't even like scared. I was more like just taking it as gist, like like you won't believe what they went through. They like the bomb blast, like I was treating it like NTA news, like just gist, like. And it's not till like a decade later that I realized, oh my God, actually, I can see why my parents just decided to be part of the people that left the country at the time. Because it's been a steady increase in the amount of Nigerians fleeing Nigeria. But we were definitely like during that era, because I think Buhari had also just gotten into power.
So,
Like we moved on from Jonathan. Like it was just such a. My dad was not happy about it. Like he was just like, it's not looking good for this country. So we left during that time, and funnily enough, I prayed against it. Like I remember my parents like struggling to learn what the visa procedure was. We left Nigeria to Spain, and Spain, actually, I've been fortunate enough to like travel, as I said, and Spain was a country that we had visited the year prior. And when my mom took me and my sister there, we actually hated it. And you know what it means for us to leave Nigeria, and we're happy because it's summer. We'll come back to school with our new pencil case. We'll
yeah,
come back to school and say, "Oh yeah, we went here, we went there." But that was the one country that we traveled to that we just did
you
not
know,
like.
like,
Did not like, because we could sense how we were treated. Like we didn't fully understand it, but we did experience like forms of racism then. And yeah, like, so fast forward to me like hearing that we're moving, and I was really upset. I was really like saying, God, please, like, pray we don't get this visa. Like I was my mom's hater. Like I was praying
you're
on
the
her
weapon
like
fashioned against
she's
them,
praying,
like,
exactly, I was the weapon fashioned against her. Like she's praying for the visa, I'm praying against it. Like wow, it be your own blood
give me your own
sometimes.
blood.
Your own blood. But yeah, like I did not want to go, and going to Spain changed a lot for me because I went to the south of Spain, and that was during an era where I didn't really know that people actually genuinely thought Africa was a jungle. Like this is not even that long ago. This is like 2015, and there's people there that literally think Africans are like all impoverished, but like extremely impoverished.
That's
A
interesting,
lot
but
of
also
like,
not that surprising because they don't really know anything
mhm.
about anything other than where they are.
Yes,
So,
and during that time, like on TV, like there was a lot of campaigns for children in Africa,
yeah,
and it was always the image of the African child with the flies. Like so, also this idea of like dirtiness when it comes to
yeah,
Africa, like extreme poverty of like the self as well. Like they, yeah, it was just extreme. It was very extreme. So it confronted me in a way because I left Nigeria at a time where I was just about to enter senior secondary school. I don't know what direction I would have gone in because I was a light skinned girl in Nigeria, mixed race presenting to some people. Like,
mm,
I was very desirable from a very, very young age, and I did have like degrees of popularity, even though I was always with the outcasts, but always inside. So I was
yeah,
always fighting with popular people all the time. Like I
mm,
was always just involved. Like I'll be staying where I am, and something will just find me. Like
mm,
people did not forget. Like even I did 1 year of school in, like, as I said, Premier Academy, and a lot of people did not forget about me from that school. So I was always just finding myself like in social spaces that were even bigger than the schools I went to, or this and that. So like going from like having such a big social life to like suddenly being very isolated and ostracized in school, and like people didn't even like, people would see my mom and not even think that that was my mom, like, because that's how much like they did not.
mm,
To me, I was just black African, period. Like, and even at that, like they didn't acknowledge me as a girl per se. Like I was always more masculine than the boys,
mm,
than the girls I was around,
yeah,
which was also interesting because I came there very like sportsy. I still like to run. I still like to play basketball. Like I still like to just be like, I still, as much as like Nigeria was trying to like increase my age, because I feel like girls, like, we develop so much faster. We're
yeah,
expected to be acting very like mature from a
sure,
young age. I still had a child spirit. Like I think that's been something that still like protected me in a lot of ways. So I was still connected to the parts of me that still like to play, still like to do this and that. And actually, like, going to Europe, I was around girls that were already drinking, already
mm,
smoking, already doing a lot of things that had me like, hey,
mm,
like,
what's going
because even
on?
when I was doing it in Nigeria, like, I was thinking I was a bad girl, like, but I was like, damn, there's actually levels to this, and like even more freedom, because these are people. Because I was in Nigeria during a time where nobody was allowed to go anywhere. Like, I
Yeah,
was not allowed to have friends in my house. I was not really like going out like that. Like, if anything, I was trying to sneak to go out, and that
mm,
was what was causing me
mm,
problems. But like here I was in a country that has easy transportation, this and that. Like everyone from school go to this person's house, do sleepover this weekend. Like, very active, like, social life, and
yeah,
like safety, because they can do it by themselves. They don't need a taxi, they don't need a ride. Like even back then we didn't even have something like Uber or Bolt. So like
Yeah.
then if you're really trying to go somewhere, it's either you take drop or like you have a driver. And there's no way your parents will let you at a young age to
Take
be
job,
taking
yeah.
job by
Yeah.
yourself. Like that was not a thing. So going from that to like being able to just trap like take the bus on your own, do this on your own, like it was a different type of freedom and realization of like, oh wow, the privilege of such a life.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was very much I didn't have like the same social life or the same popularity. I was very much in the margins and in the sidelines. And my first like 2 years of school, I think I was very angry. So like if anything, I was like I carried a type of aggression. So I was coming into school like I'll fight anybody here. If anybody wants to try me, I'll do this. Like really just like
Yeah.
coming with so much aggression and like aggression at once for attention. If that makes sense. But
Yeah.
then at some point I calmed down and I just started to find myself. I think being in Spain created a type of isolation that was necessary for me because being there also made me realize the privileges that I was experiencing in Nigeria.
Mm.
Because I was like, okay, like I'm not just black, I'm also light skinned. Like I'm also this, I'm also that. Like no, just realizing that featureism is a thing and like even growing up in Nigeria, I wasn't necessarily considered the perfect mixed race person because I didn't have like I'll go to the salon and my sister's hair was more curlier than mine and they'd always tell me, oh, you have the Nigerian hair. Like your hair is not that good. Like, just and I'd be around
Yeah.
people that actually be like, oh, they can't wait to marry a white man so they can have like fine
And
children.
children.
Like, there was a deep fetishization around like the idea of just not being fully Nigerian. But then it was also put into my head that I was very Nigerian,
Yeah.
but that was even a like disadvantage for me. So
Mm.
a huge part of me being in Spain was my hair. Because I was always used to going to the salon. Like I was always relaxing my hair. I relaxed my hair from the age of 3. And apparently because I begged my mom so much because the girls in my school wanted to relax their hair. And I also wanted that, like for a particular hairstyle we needed to do for our school dance or whatever. So like since then I always used to hear my hair is due, due, due. So I thought that was like even an adjective, like to say your hair is not that good right now. So going from like that to like being in Spain with like no access to any products, no access to anything, like I struggled so much with like doing my hair that people would bully me even more because of my hair. And I was trying my best to like straighten it, have it go down, and my hair did not want to drop. Like the moment I'll be sweating, my whole hair will just start rising, and then they'll just come up to me and be like, "Why is your hair like that? Why is it doing this? Why is your hair sticking out?" Like it was always like sticking out. So the fact that even my hair was loud,
Yeah.
at one point I just liberated myself and I realized, oh my god, like I gained this internalized hatred, like or not even internalized hatred, like I didn't even give my hair a chance. Growing up, I never even knew what my natural hair could be like. I didn't even know that I could have curls. But but not curls because like, in my head it's not like if it's kinky coils, then it's not curls. The only curls we acknowledge is type 3 curls, like, but it's like no, your hair is your hair. And like I grew up in a household where my parents didn't really like enjoy or allow me to wear makeup. Or like I left Nigeria at a time where all the girls were doing box brows, like our beauty standard was happening. Like, hey, with the concealer, man, I was trying my best to learn how to do that shit. So I left at a time where I was just trying to learn beauty.
Yeah.
So going to a place where I did not have access to what would make me beautiful, and knowing that I'll even struggle 10 times more than these girls around me to even be considered beautiful,
Beautiful.
I was really struggling with an image. But yeah, I made my mom cut my hair one day after school. I started my natural hair journey and I realized, oh, this is what I learned in Nigeria. This is what I have to unlearn here. Like, it made me confront all the different things that I realized were not normal. Because also telling people in school about experiences like, oh, this bomb blast, or the time they kidnapped this person, or the time they did this, they did that, like, or even the time I saw jungle justice happen because I grew up in front of the market. So I've seen someone actually be brutalized in that way. Or growing up in Enugu, there's always naked madmen on the road. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of
Why are there always
images.
madmen in
Yeah.
Enugu?
Well,
They're always like
it's
just
a
there
funny
walking
question.
on
Yeah, they're
the
just walking on
streets.
the road, and people just be like, "Are you okay?" Like that's not normal.
No.
Like, and that shit had me like, oh. So I think Europe like gave me a life of like quote unquote comfort, but it made me question what that comfort was if you're not really around people that can validate your identity or your humanity. So it's like, okay, I have the privilege of like full time electricity, have the privilege of transportation, of even going to a better school, because that's actually something that shaped me immensely. I went to a private school in Spain. I went to a private British school at that. And when I was being ostracized and when I was no longer like in with anyone, I chose to study. Like I was like, you know what, fuck it. If I'm going to be coming to school, I might as well just
That's what
actually
you.
like learn what I need to learn. And I was taking subjects like literature and arts. And these were subjects that doing them in Nigeria was bullshit.
Shit.
Like, oh my god, I hated arts in Nigeria. Like it was just rubbish. Like, you know, like school was not even anything to take seriously because as well, like exams will come and people are practicing malpractice.
Malpractice. Yeah.
So it's like school in Nigeria was an arena for me to make jokes. Because one thing about me, I was a joker. Like I like to, as much as I was like, I'd always like to be like I'd have moments where I take school seriously. I'd like be accomplishing first, second, third in class, or like trying to like be class captain, this or that. Like I had like that spirit of like wanting to be good, but I also had the spirit of wanting to be bad because I'll start insulting someone in class. Like I was always yabbing somebody. Like I was
Yeah.
always engaging in humor. And if I now have a funny teacher, I'll like
Yeah.
I loved like there was times where I just loved going to school to laugh and to play. Like there's times I'll come back from school, sand in my hair. Like you know how they show your kid in the beginning of the day
Yeah. And at the
looking
end of the
normal, by
day,
the end of the day you see me, my shirt is torn, my
oh
this
my
is
god.
that, like my lunchbox is nowhere to be found. But yeah, Spain, I took school seriously and I got a very good education. And I think that's something that has heavily shaped me, like the privilege of like having a school system that actually works in a way. I wouldn't say works because obviously it wasn't really catered to people of different learning abilities. I just happened to be the type that I teach myself. So it's like whatever the teachers were presenting me, I was always taking it 10 steps ahead. Like
Mm.
I had like a very strict schedule. My last 2 years of school, like I was practicing exam papers every weekend. Like
Mm.
I got very amazing like grades.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
like
serious.
I
Yeah.
was very, very serious. I got scholarships into universities. Like that's
Mm.
how much I was like
On it.
shooting for something. Because I think it also made me like look to myself. Like in my isolation, I was dreaming big. Like I was watching a lot of like YouTube as well. Like I was watching different interviews, motivational videos. Like I was always doing things like that. And then I just be writing down what I hope to accomplish, what I want to do. And it was always about Nigeria as well. So I
Mm.
feel like I was just like, you know what, if I'm here like this, let me put in the
The
work.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually.
And I think if I would have just been in Nigeria, ha,
You might have just been a completely different person.
I think I would have lost road, like for real, like for sure. Maybe I would have come back to myself eventually, but then I probably would have just gone through way more challenges and experiences
Mm.
or yeah, and also I guess I fear for my safety because growing up, as I said, being very hypersexualized, like going from hypersexualization to suddenly people not even viewing me as attractive at all. Like I wasn't considered fine or even as I said,
That's
barely even a girl.
crazy.
Like, you know, exactly like knowing that how much pretty privilege I had here. But like as much as it's a privilege, it's also a source of deep violence because it's really by God's grace that like I wasn't raped as a child or like molested
Mm.
by any man because there were like grown ass men that liked me when I was a kid in my immediate environment. And I don't know, like I feel like it was really grace and protection
Yeah.
that nothing crazy happened to me. But I feel like if I would have continued here in Nigeria, like especially at a time where I was just even develop I didn't even hit puberty by the time I left this country. So I imagine if I would have actually been like developing because people knew me as flat for a very long time. Like
Mm.
that's what they described me in school. So if I actually had like breasts in this country, I don't know what like really like
Oh, it could really be anything at that point. Like,
yeah, like yeah.
I don't know why. Like, I don't know why. Like, it's funny because what you're saying is so real. Like I can't pretend like it's not something that it's not something that you see. Like it's very clear to see the interest as well in biracial people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in some ways Spain must have like saved you for some things, but also like created
Expose me to
some
other
other
things, yeah.
things. Yeah.
Because I learned about racial trauma by the time I had left Spain. Because I did like 4 years of school. I finished school, or 5 years, I think 4 to 5 years, and then I chose to go to university in somewhere else. Like I was looking around Europe. I wanted to go to England because I just always felt like that's where I'd end up on the
Thank God.
basis of like,
Thank God you
as
didn't
in
go
that would have
there.
been another
Thank God you
fucking
didn't go
like
there.
I would have just been a clone
Jesus. No,
of
no,
like
no,
many
no.
other Nigerians that are there, because yeah,
Mm,
exactly, like I in my head is like, oh, I've always had cousins there. I've always been able to go to London to visit my family. Like that was the one place I was familiar with outside of Nigeria, because I like it was just that connected.
yeah.
And that was during an era of Brexit, so it just did not make sense like to go there. And it's like my family did not move there like for a reason.
Yeah.
So actually, where we were in Spain is also very economical. Like it's very cheap, and it could have
Oh,
been
okay.
very cheap for me to have just gone to uni there.
Yeah.
But like that would have also just been like, I don't think I would have survived. Like I genuinely feel like I would have been bored out of my mind. Like that would have just been like cutting me off from society.
Yeah.
Period. But yeah, I wanted to be somewhere international and more exposed. So my second option was even Paris, and I got into an American university in Paris. And the American like college fee is like crazy. It's in
Crazy.
the hundreds, like of thousands. Like it's very ridiculous. I even with the scholarship that I got there, it still could not even cut that price down enough for me to be able to afford it. So my third option was actually Amsterdam, and this was because of my parents, who were also just saying, look at other places in Europe, and they were
Mm.
calling places like I don't even know, Sweden, here, there,
Mm.
like all these like Scandinavian countries,
Countries.
and I was just like, for where, like hell, no.
No.
But then Amsterdam, I guess it sounded like, oh, okay, at least like it sounds more international, which it actually is. Like it's a very
Yeah.
transit city. Like a lot of people pass through there, and there is a very strong black population there. So I kind of went there very absent-mindedly, in the sense that I also was not sure about what I wanted to study. So when I finished school and I had all those grades, I was actually at first just going to do a gap year because I was 17 years old, because I went into school early. Like I was actually, I should have done another year of school, but like I was,
Yeah.
I was sharp like that. So so that's how, like I was 17. I thought I'd do a gap year, but then as I started to realize, actually I want to go to art school. Like that was when I really, really had discovered art, because at the age of 16, again, by the time I started my journey into myself and like reading about Nigeria, not just Nigeria, but like the black diaspora, like everything black, I was just interested in, whether it was film, music, arts, whatever. Like I was just consuming, and I was in my room and I was just making possibilities from my room. So I was just even like painting, I was like writing. I was trying to do like, because in school, if you see me in school during lunch, I'd either be reading a book or writing some poetry. Because I had an English teacher who made us all take like a tiny notebook and say, write descriptions you see all the time. And it kind of stopped for many people in the class. But the moment I started, I was always just writing some type of poems. And those poems were all memories from Nigeria. And then lots of them were very dark and violent. So I think that's when I
Mm.
also started to realize, oh, okay, this is not
No,
normal.
no,
Yeah, but I continued that practice to the point where by the time I was done with school was during an era of like the Renaissance, that I'd like to describe as like Nigeria's alternative community becoming something. So this was really at a time of waffles and cream. I think they first got a BBC interview about skaters in Lagos, and that had
yeah.
me like, whoa, there's skaters in Lagos. Like people like Moa Lola were just graduating school. Moa
Mm.
Lola, Roots aside, like these were people that were creating an image of like Nigeria that was fashion forward as well. Because I think Moa was just using like bikers, like regular people. Like she went to fucking Anambra and she was
Mm.
like photographing Igbo people with Ruth Osai, who's such an amazing photographer. And they were photographing like people in the village, but like wearing these clothes that just look so fucking like interesting
Interesting.
and cool. And I think even someone like Chukuka, that's someone that just started like making videos, and I was just seeing so many things coming out. And then especially from that school, Central St. Martin's in London, that's where Moa graduated, and a couple other like big names came from. I was just like, whoa, I want to go there. Like, I
Yeah.
want to go there. Like, I want to do this because I was also very interested in fashion. I was interested in everything arts related. Like, I wanted to make clothes at the time. I wanted to like make more art. Like, I just wanted to make photos. Like, I just wanted to create worlds. So I was so like curious to like go there, and then it was such a last minute thing because my parents, I was always telling my dad, yeah, I'll probably go into business or finance or something. Because as much as I am a creative, I'm also very like business minded.
Mm.
And not in the sense of like profit, but in the sense that growing up, I was always coming up with business ideas.
Yeah.
My dad really is an Igbo man. He's very industrial, very much like hustling all the time. And I present my ideas to him, and he say, "Okay, write a plan. What's your logo? What's your this?" And I loved it because it was also my imagination.
Nation,
So
yeah.
even if I never fully launched something, I would do it. Like in just two, I made a magazine called Adore Magazine, and it was me, Annie, and Fatima that made that. And like Fatima had a blog post, Annie had her own page. I designed different things in the magazine, and we printed it once and sold it to
Oh, that's
people in our
nice,
class. Like
actually.
I was always just doing different ventures, and I bring it to school and I'd sell. Like I was making
I'm
money.
actually mad, though.
But something I'd always say is like part of the money goes to charity. And it was always like street kids, let's say coming from school, I'll just give them some of that money. So in my head, I always knew that, oh, okay, I have it in me to like make money. And even as such, I wanted to like maybe make some type of industry here in Nigeria. I was actually interested in the clothing industry, and I had a whole plan to use that money to like make a university, to make a school. And I wrote this big plan at the age of 15. Like I still have the plan of how many universities. I want to make a scholarship program. I want to rebuild people's houses. I was really, so in my head, I thought I'd just go into this business route
Yeah.
to like, do something, and then eventually, like, I was thinking more economic liberation towards creation. But when I realized art is more of an immediate priority to make and to know, because I did like for my A levels, I did business, English, maths, and English literature.
Mm.
And no, I did English literature, maths, business, and English literature as well. I think so. Like, yeah, I did English, business, and maths. So like that already was like very like kind of maths science based, and I thought that, oh, okay, like I did that in school. I didn't actually study arts. So funnily enough, I got into Central St. Martin's, but again, Brexit. But that entry alone, me being able to apply to that school without doing arts like in school, had me like, oh wow, like I guess I do have something. So that acceptance alone was like a note to say, okay, you can do this. And when I went to Amsterdam, I came there with like the intentions of putting myself out there. Because even my program was like literary and cultural analysis. And it was my mom that chose this. And my mom's first language is not English. So sometimes she was even just looking at those programs like,
Mm-hmm.
I swear she didn't even read much about it. She was just like, this seems like art,
To be.
language, like, something that you can do. So even me, I was just like, okay, whatever. I'll apply. I got in. Everything was just happening so quickly because it
Yeah.
was such a last minute thing. And by the time I went to Amsterdam, my student accommodation was actually right in the fucking heart of like blackness in the city.
Oh,
So I
that's
was
not
given one of the
nice.
most blackest neighborhoods like in Amsterdam, Belmer. And when I pulled up with my mom the first day coming out from the airport, I saw like this black library. I saw like this black exhibition gallery space, this and that. I was just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like even walking to my student accommodation, I was hearing someone play Burna Boy. And
Oh,
I was like,
I must have
what?
felt so relieved. Like, you must have felt so
Yes,
relieved.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. It felt like such a big blessing. But at the same time, I came to learn about like the systematic inequalities and stuff that comes with like having a black population in Europe.
Mm.
Yeah, because I came to find out that people refer to that place as the ghetto. And mind you, this place is nothing like the ghetto. Like, if you really know ghetto, you.
Don't call that place to get
My
so.
dad, when he eventually came to visit me, and he was like, "Is this the ghetto they're talking about?" I love the ghetto. Then please, I want to be in the ghetto because this is not even the ghetto. Like, the only thing ghetto about that place is just the fact that it was originally built for, I guess, like actual white Dutch people who, and it just didn't work out.
Mm.
So it kind of just became a project, and a lot of immigrant communities moved there. And the moment there's a non-white presence, it's just considered dangerous. Yeah.
Almost non-white presence consider. To be honest, like I know that like there's some parts of it that I can never really grasp because I grew up in Nigeria, I stayed in Nigeria. There's
Yeah.
some parts of racism that I can never fully know because I have not experienced, and I think like sometimes I think thank God I have not
Yeah.
experienced it. Like
Oh my god, like a lot of the experiences I had, because as I said, I went to Spain with like a fighter spirit and energy. Like I still had a lot of aggression because I grew up in an aggressive environment. But yeah, I would always think, if someone is racist to me, I'm going to show them this, and that. But then sometimes the racism would be so shocking that me itself, I'll just stand and be looking like, huh? Like I'll even turn around, like, is it me that this person is actually talking to? Because it will be just that much of like so ridiculous, like, and it's hard to defend yourself when people also frame it as a joke, or when the racism is so casual, it's so embedded in the culture that like you can't even like check this person because they're just that ignorant. Yeah.
they have no idea. I think like it's funny how they are quote unquote very exposed, but they actually don't know anything outside of themselves.
Nothing.
From what I just read Americana, and like just seeing the way she would describe these white people, like they would just selectively choose when they felt like they were not racist or not. But it's like it's in your face, it's everywhere, like it's in you, it's around you, like it's in your mental. You don't just reading on like reading that book Shad made me realize how like how do you go about defending your skin, like something you can't change about yourself. How do you have to make yourself live in an environment where like you're not conducive for everybody? Like
Yeah, I think I once had that experience when, because one of the first themes I started writing about when I really started like writing poetry at like 15 was like jungle justice because of what I witnessed growing up. And I realized that was actually an experience that deeply touched me. So when I started like searching up things like jungle justice, and I think I came across some very violent videos like on YouTube that had like recorded these lynchings. And the comments were just filled with white people saying, these animals, these barbarians, like these monkeys, like literally just pure insults. And someone was even like, this is why South Africa, like the only reason South Africa is one of the best countries in Africa is because there's white people there. Like literally saying that, and they say that we oppress them, we literally help them. Like, just all these type of things. And I remember being so like genuinely outraged, but like not even knowing how to defend. How do you react? Because it's like they're taking our own like it's crazy how they're watching our own deterioration and like the oppression we go through as almost a justification for like
what they did to us,
for what they did to us, as opposed to a result of what they did to us. Like it's like, and here you see why like you guys can't even like we left your country for you, quote unquote, and like you guys can't even run your own country. Like
they didn't even like I think like we're not even built to work that way. Exactly. So it's just like a system destined to fail.
Exactly. They wouldn't even like any good leader in this continent has like been assassinated.
Yeah.
They benefit from our oppression.
They do. You answered my second question too, kind of, yeah. So you said something in your lecture I want to quote: the little decisions we make can actually allow for bigger possibilities of change. Could you tell us the little steps you took that led you on the path of becoming the person you are now?
Wow. I said that. No, I'm saying. Um,
Kill
so I feel like a little change that actually impacted me heavily was just the process of saying the names of my ancestors, and also even just acknowledging there's ancestors that I cannot name but that they exist and they existed for me to like not have to repeat a lot of the things they went through. Like there's already a lot of lessons that have been learned. And I feel like a lot of people refer to me as a very old or wise. So I'm just like, man, like my ancestors are like, I'm with them. Like there's a lot of knowledge they have and like that is stored in our day-to-day environment that I'm tapping into and I'm trying to learn about. So I feel like just me saying like thank you to my ancestors, acknowledging them, like learning my grandmother's name, my great grandmother's name, my great great grandfather's name, like just knowing that I come from a lineage of something really, really like changed my life immensely. And I think for people that don't even know the name, just saying like I acknowledge ancestors that I cannot name, those I can name and not name, like that alone just made me realize like Maya Angelou says it like when you walk into a room, walk in knowing that your uncle is behind you, your grandmother is behind you,
me.
other spirits as well. Because to me, I also feel like I have chosen ancestors. So to even just look at the world around me and be like, wow, this woman existed, this artist existed, like these people existed and they inspire me to want to be something. And being like, wow, if I actually do acknowledge them, like spirit is very generous. Like for me, if I walk into a room and I believe Toni Morrison is right next to me, then I'm unstoppable. You know, like I'm actually unstoppable. I think something else that was in my the little things was also just acknowledging nature. Because as much as I grew up around nature, I grew up in an environment that encouraged me to exploit the nature, to not value the nature, to see nature as less than us. I learned of us being
Yeah,
higher
same.
animals and lower animals. That was something we learned in school
Yeah.
here in Nigeria. You know, like we a huge disregard for other people's lives. And I feel like the moment I started to like really think of the world through a natural perspective, through a perspective of like, oh, the water is like bigger than you. Without water, there is no life. Without this earth, there is no life. Without ecosystem, without ecology, like who are you? Like no man is bigger than nature.
Yeah.
I think that's something that also deeply changed me in a way that when it comes to food and acknowledging what food does for your body, like even just acknowledging your body as a temple, your body as something that is so fragile, so delicate, and like so like heavily oppressed as well, like so heavily like there's systems of violence that attack our bodies every day, like the food we ingest, the fumes we ingest, like there's so much that's just against our bodies. There's people that can't even afford to be able-bodied in this society. Like you come to Nigeria and disabled people are just made to be beggars
Yes,
on the
yeah.
road. Like to have a body is to have like to have a functioning body is such a big privilege,
Blessing,
big privilege. People undermine that so much. So to like really recognize that privilege, to really just treat your body and like respect your body, give to your body, nurture your body, like tend to your body, that's been like a very huge transformative liberatory practice of mine for sure.
how do you embody the change you are seeking?
Body, body, body. How do I embody the change I am seeking? mm, I feel like I embody the change I am seeking by yeah just holding myself to the standard I like dream of like other people treating me as, like I guess in the sense that I just try my best to be a good person. I know I'm not going to be a perfect person, but I'm always trying. As I said, my truth is always changing. I'm someone that recently I've had so much intracommunal conflict with other people. Like I've had issues with people. I have ups. Like as much as I believe in liberation and freedom and like one world. Like no, I know that it's not one world.
Yeah.
I know that two trees, there's like certain species that cannot actually grow next to
To
each
each
other,
other.
like even in nature. That's why I'm like God bless nature, because nature is such a perfect site of being able to understand ourselves. Like nature is a mirror. in everything. So to even know that there's two crops that cannot grow on the same soil, there's like weeds that come up, like, when you
Yeah.
think of it in that way, you realize that, oh wow, actually you cannot be around everybody.
Body.
Like,
Yeah.
the idea of a collectivity is always changing for me. I realize I cannot have a permanent collective. In fact, my best friends that I've had, I love you guys, but we're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
We don't talk anymore. Like, I've had so many fallouts with different people, and it's not that I didn't have my own hand in those fallouts. I definitely know where, oh, okay, I see how I was acting very immature there, or I see how I did not communicate on time, or I also address my own shadows, because we all have our shadows, right? But yeah, I realized that by just like trying to be the best person I can be, the best honest person I can be, the best, like, just living a life of grace, and hoping that that grace that I give onto other people can be given onto me as well. I think that's how I embody the change that I seek. Just by trying my best to like be the best to those I care about,
That's
like actually showing up how I can, because I know people do show up for me. Like, as I said, I cannot stand on my own. I stand with other people. So community is a tough one, but
Yeah, I've actually talked about how like everybody sort of kind of needs community, but it should probably come from an individual standpoint. Like you find yourself, you know yourself, then you can come out and then like meet other people where you
yes,
guys meet on this one thing.
yes, on
Yeah.
shared
On
values.
shared values, exactly.
Because when you even first asked me about values, I was like, who, for me or for others? Because I
Mm,
feel like the values I expect in myself are sort of the values I expect in other
other
people.
people.
Though.
Yeah.
Because I think I realize that everyone is a mirror. As much as nature is also a mirror, your fellow man, your fellow human being is also a mirror. And
Yeah.
like, some people's mirrors are like fun houses.
Yeah.
They like distort in front of you. Some people's mirrors are like fun house mirrors, or some people's mirrors are dirty or foggy, like, which is interesting because some people actually show you like the parts of humanity that you might like not realize
Yeah.
is there, like,
Yeah.
man's capacity for evil,
Yeah.
because we all are capable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you have to know that you are and then choose not to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's real as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to another section, a mini section.
Okay.
Remembering. I actually love this concept. When you actually, I think you posted about it is it a couple years ago or something like that?
Yeah.
And it really stuck with me.
Mm.
I was like, because a lot of things I know, I don't know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to describe it. Like, a lot of
Yeah.
the things that I'm kind of convinced of, or a lot of the stuff that I know because I see, like, it is in me, I guess. I see
Yeah.
it, my reactions to things, or how you just know without a doubt that something is right or wrong, that type of thing. So, it's itself becomes the source of your own knowledge production,
Yeah.
sourcing knowledge from our emotions. And this to me also felt like tuning into your intuition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, could you describe that process of learning from your body's emotion? Is this something that you consciously experience? Is this something that can be triggered?
Could you really repeat that
Okay,
last part
let
again?
me. Is this something that you consciously experience? Like, are you aware of when like you learn something from yourself, something from
Hmm.
your subconsciousness, and or is this something that can be triggered? Like, can you make
Yeah.
yourself learn from yourself?
Yeah. So I feel like the idea of like an intuition and also the erotic, because parts of this whole idea of learning or like emotional productions of knowledge comes from Audre Lorde, who wrote about uses of the erotic, and she talks about our greatest capacity for joy and pleasure being a source of knowledge production, and by way of that, also knowing that our greatest capacity for pain as well is a source of knowledge, and the idea that slaves on plantations had an intuition for freedom. You know, a lot of things like racism at some point was medically justified. Like even the how history was written, like there's certain Western philosophers who literally wrote Africa has no history. So the actual like systematic form of oppression, that's
And
the
erasing,
erasure
yeah.
of our history and also knowledge, forms of knowledge production. So imagine like living in a society where even the church justifies your own enslavement. You know, at some point, like we were considered people that had no God, people that were sinners, this and that. Like there's even that narrative. People will now say like, oh, we shouldn't even practice our traditional practices because that's
It
like
is a
it's idol
sin,
worship
yeah.
is a sin. Like people that believe like like Christianity was our liberation or our emancipation. So, but even though that came with so much violence, so much this and that, so it's like, okay, how did people know to know that they were meant to be free? Like, do you understand? Like,
Yeah.
because if it was really like that, then there's slaves that would still be slaves today. Do you
Yeah.
understand? But there were people that imagine being told through every form, even medically, saying that you're inferior to these
To
people.
people, yeah.
Like you could believe that if it's really just the knowledge.
Yeah, if that is just what is true.
That is what is true. But then there's something that tells you deep in your gut this is not right.
Yeah.
You know, like you could grow up not knowing the language of your oppression, but you can feel it in your body.
Yeah.
And that is where like intuitive knowledge comes from. It's this natural sense of knowing something is not right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times I didn't really know that intuition because, as I said, I grew up lying. I grew up getting into a lot of
It's
trouble.
true.
But then I'd have this anxiety, or like, you know, that small, I should have known, like, or I
Yeah. Should
knew,
have known
like, you
better.
know,
Yeah. You. Oh,
that
yeah.
feeling. So I think you can actually train yourself to start having your internal conversations
Sensation.
with the voices in your head. And that's when people say you're running mad, like you're crazy. But I believe that we're all crazy.
Yeah.
There's an artist named Unamdi that says madness, MAD, stands for mind accessing the divine. And I really do feel that because yeah, like learning how to like listen to that inner voice, and sometimes we'll speak
Yeah.
very loudly or we'll speak through other people, or speak through movies, or speak through a book, like
Yeah.
listening, like opening
You
yourself to
receive.
receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think when I saw that, like I think it triggered that consciousness for me,
Yeah.
because in my day to day now, there's just like an awareness somehow. Like I have of the life, and well, it also this year has been like, I would say this is the longest year I've had, but no, this is just like the year where I have been aware of
Yeah.
everything, like just knowing, like being able to sense when something is like just knowing, like
Yes.
that's what I would
Yes.
describe, like
Yes.
because also though I wasn't in so much into how I used to research was through self like knowledge, like through
Mm-hmm.
self research. I noticed that, but these days I'm more like I should probably go
Go
out of
then,
myself.
yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that I would know that people would be like, how did you figure it? I'm like, it's just from internet, like going backwards to
Yes.
introspecting basically.
Yes.
So you can really like learn from yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what to me is no longer yourself. Because you are literally like, I believe in the idea of a collective consciousness.
Yeah.
So everything comes from like a source. And I think there's no original thoughts. There's no like, some people have already thought so much so you could get to
That's
where
where you
you're
are,
thinking.
yeah.
Like, you know, this
Exactly.
consciousness was not just, did not just begin in you. So whenever I'm talking to myself, I'm also like, damn, some of these ideas are coming up like beyond my own
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's also what are you tapping into and what knowledges can you actually access? Because I also feel like part of this is body memory, and part of this is also the memory of other things around us. Like nature carries memory, water carries memory, like things like bay leaf is an old herb, like old herbs that have been used since before us, like that people already knew their value, their medicine, their this and their that. Like it still exists. Like just
Yeah.
because it's no longer being used doesn't mean like the medicine is erased or the memory is
Serious,
erased.
yeah.
So sometimes it's really like you find yourself coming across things that who knows was already discovered before you, but you're made to like find it again and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. It's always resurfacing.
Yes, always
It's always
resurfacing.
resurfacing.
Yeah.
You talked about freeing our minds. How do
Hmm.
we free our minds? Or how do you free your mind?
So you know how we're saying shame, shame, shame.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like part of freeing your mind is part of also acknowledging the other voices in your head that are more, you know, negative about different things. Like whether it's like the inner disciplinarian in you, or even the inner hater in you, like the inner person that's made to judge, the inner person that is made to harm the next person. Like, the parts of you that are rooted in trauma, because I believe hurts people really hurts
Hurt people,
people.
yeah.
So I think part of freeing your mind is part of also acknowledging all sides to your mind. Like, it's not just a happy go lucky, think positive, guys.
Yeah.
It's really like, wow, like,
It's not real. Like that's not real. That's not a
no,
real thing. It's
no,
not a real
like,
concept. I feel like people shy away from that side of themselves so
yes,
much. But you would
yes,
learn so much
yes,
from like confronting that
yes,
side of
yes. And
yourself.
there's so many parts of ourselves that's also repressed
Yeah.
as well. It's like there's parts of you that want to surface, but something in society is
Yeah.
preventing you from.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's also just allowing the parts of you that want to rise.
Yeah.
And as scary as it might be, just have to
Have to
let
let
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a more personal question because I noticed you said you stopped painting to pick up music. Do
Mhm.
you ever go? Do you miss painting? Do you still?
Um, yeah, like this question is so real because I really do miss painting, and I feel like painting is something that I realized, like, especially in Amsterdam, was a very commodity based practice. Like, it really does take a privilege to be able to make art. And even painters in Nigeria are really much rooted in the industry, which is why you can buy their paintings as a product. Like, there's even a type of painting that people want. Like, the art market is always changing, but I mean this like on a local sense. Because if you get the local artist, it's like a hyper realistic image of you, like,
Mm,
or like the typical drum village, like, just
yeah.
things like that like are made to be like consumed or mass produced. And I feel like art to me is very personal, firstly and foremostly, and for me it's for my space. I love to, like, I think because I don't necessarily have my own studio or somewhere I'm rooted in right now. Like, right now I've been living out of a suitcase. Like, I haven't really been in one place. I haven't had my own place in like the last 2 years, and that was the last time that that was when I made that shrine. So I've
Mm.
almost fled that shrine. Since I fled that my embari that I made that anti exhibition, I haven't really yet found like my place to
Okay.
build again. But I really I've been doing this practice in my journal of um carrying crayons around, and then I just do like drawings, like not really drawings, but I just paint the whole page.
Yeah.
Let me find something
Oh
like
my god,
this.
this is so
So at least it keeps me like.
this is so alive. I don't know how else to
I'm
describe
glad
it.
to hear that.
So alive.
It's just my way of feeling like, because I think when I want to paint, I feel like, oh, I want to do a big canvas. I have to be very intentional. Like, what's the message? What's
Probably
the
I have
this?
to know.
Yeah, but now I'm just going back to my child self and trying to just.
This is so I you literally just we're going through the book and then you just open the book and it's just like wow.
It's just jumping out.
Yeah, I love this so much.
Thank
So
you.
good.
But something like this, like, I wouldn't necessarily share.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really for me right
Mm.
now.
Yeah, I think I get that. I used to feel like everything I was writing should be like I should be something good enough that it can be related to mostly. But like maybe I am just this is just for me. This is just to
Yes.
express myself. I don't
Yes.
need to feel the need to
Yes.
give it away.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's funny because then like when you now actually just write something when it comes out from you like that or you paint
Yes.
something then you now be the one to choose do I want other people to have this or
Mm-hmm.
not, but primarily this is for you.
Sometimes you have to like offer the creation to something
Yeah,
bigger than
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Bigger than you, bigger than man.
yeah.
Yeah.
The next thing you talked about was the labor of love.
Krr.
How we can allow our pleasures and our needs to be the driving force of what we produce.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Could you like tell us for the readers, for the listeners, the readers, I don't know.
You're thinking of writing.
Yeah, I don't know what this means. Like, can you tell them something about it?
Okay, so labor of love. Yeah, I guess I was really thinking of the practice of arts and being a commodity based practice, and
Mm,
how nothing is really free in this world, especially as like black people. We have to work for every fucking thing that we do. Like even those kids of like people that come from stupid money, like the money needed to be made at some point. Like I feel like nothing, like everything requires a transaction, everything requires a labor, like even surviving, like eating,
Yeah.
like taking a shower, everything is a labor. Like you
But
cannot exist without labor. And I guess there are people that are privileged enough to purchase that labor, to have people do more labor for
for
you.
them.
But yeah, everything is rooted in labor. And as someone who at some points was laboring a lot in Europe, like I was trying to make, like barely making an ends meet, I realized that wow, like how do I refuse this system without having to like because for example I told my mom like I don't I think there's this meme that's like when people ask you what do you want to be in future and you reply I don't dream of labor. Like like I think I once told my mom something like I don't want to work, and she was like who do you think you are, like this whole world is about work. Like she was very offended by that question. I guess because like yeah, my mom comes from a lot of poverty in Venezuela, and she didn't have life easy. Like she had to work from a very young age. Like she knows what it means to not have food to eat.
Yeah.
And like for her it's like what do you mean you
Yeah. I
cannot
must
work?
work. Yeah.
Like you have to work. Like who do you think you are? But I'm like, yo, actually, like, I don't want to work in a way that I'm sacrificing my body for something. Like, I'd
Yeah.
rather just exit this world. I think that's where, like, I
Yeah.
also am someone that's like, I'm never like I don't know like it's deeper to talk about, but I guess like I'll talk about an Abiku child. An Abiku child is someone that if they're not enjoying, they'll just leave. Like
Yeah.
what do you mean? Like I think there's a lot of us that are rebellious. Even just knowing about the emo landing, those slaves that said well, we'd rather just
That pretty
march
much.
back into the water and
Yeah.
die
And
than to do this.
it's
So I feel like I come from that lineage of people that are almost last like the last thing last like my life is in my hands oh no cap like peace like peace
That's too
like if
real.
I
Like
refuse it I will refuse it. Like I did not come here to like actually do certain things, and I think that's where it's like okay, my ancestors have actually told me that there's other ways I can live
live.
that do not require a certain type of suffrage.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think realizing that through jazz, because it was jazz that helped me understand how to reconfigure the logic of our labor. Because your labor can either be rooted in exploitation or even redistribution. I think we can all be intentional about the labor we want to do in this world. Even just thinking about how like yam is the most important tuber in Igbo land,
Yeah.
and that requires a huge labor. That requires a toil. Like to get yam out of the soil is a lot, but like that's what we do. Like we were like throughout history, there's always been forms of labor and negotiation with land. And what I wanted to say with jazz is that I got to know about John Coltrane, who made Love Supreme. And Love Supreme was this dedication towards supreme love in the world, towards freedom, towards liberation, towards the healing quality of music. Like John Coltrane genuinely believed that music could heal. And not just like from a metaphysical standpoint, but from an actual like scientific standpoint. Like he really believed that there was a type of configuration that could actually create a formula towards healing. And he even based this on Pythagoras, who's a whole like philosopher and mathematician. But yeah, John Coltrane was once an addict, a heroin addict, and it was quite common for a lot of jazz musicians. But to be in I think it was even Miles Davis's band, like he kept getting kicked out. Like he really had to like quit at some points just to be able to sustain his jazz career. And he quit cold turkey, like locked himself in a room. He eventually married like Alice Coltrane when he was clean. But unfortunately he died quite early because of like I'm pretty sure all this drug use that he
Yeah.
went through. But yeah, prior to this he was making a Love Supreme, and this is someone that was he wasn't Alice wasn't even really seeing him. They had kids and all, and they had this big house, and he just like locked himself away working on this piece of music. And I was thinking, damn, like to even be like an instrumentalist like this. They were playing every day. Like they were laboring for this craft. Like what does it mean to really put that much physical energy
Mhm.
into practice, into performance, into breath, like breathing into your instrument? Like he was a saxophonist, and like really believing that there's like how does art or music or life drive you to make that much? And I realized that's actually a labor of love. Like this is coming from a love of a creation. Like there's people in this world that are actually working for what they love, and it's taking them to new heights. And I'm interested in that. Like I'm interested in how we can, like I think everybody has purpose in this society. Like there's like I think we always try to undermine the real work that goes on in this world. Like, who takes care of our trash? Who takes care of like our children? Who are the teachers? Like, these are people that like the medics, like nurses, like security men. These are people that are the most underpaid in society.
Yeah.
But at some point, we were really a society that had people that were actually ordained to have those roles.
Yeah.
That that's their destiny
Yeah.
actually, to teach, to protect, to
Yeah.
this and that, caretakers of the land. And I feel like that reconfiguration can lead us back to a society where we're all equally honored for the
For the roles
roles we
that we,
fulfill.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you talked about that, I started thinking like, cause the emphasis is to make money, become successful, like toil yourself. My dad would always say life is like hard. You always have to work hard. You have to move. You have to hustle, 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 hustle. And I was just like, and then I thought, okay, well then like, why not just do it for? And I think I watched your lecture while I was like starting the podcast. I think it was either before or during maybe like the first couple of episodes. And when I did the first episode, I would record, re-record. Like it just wasn't.
Yeah.
I was just not, and then I was like, I could as well just like let it go, I guess, and not like want to work for it and not want to strive.
Mhm.
But then I was like, this is something I would love, and like
Mhm.
this is something that would give back to
Mhm.
people, and like when I got into it, like all the hours I put, like it did not. It was still work, obviously. I mean, like I'm
Yeah.
not sleeping. I'm like, but like the manner in which what it was for, and I did coin the labor of love. Like it is for
Mm.
love. It
Mhm.
is for
Mhm.
something I love,
Mhm.
and I'm
Mhm.
just like, it makes it so much easier to
Mhm.
come back to the stuff that is not redundant.
Yeah.
Something that like I don't. It was also now okay. Well, we'll get to that. Sha. I was going to start talking about legacy, but we'll get to that
Hmm.
later.
And can I just add that I feel like the labor of love is also the acknowledgement of like respecting your body as well as you do it. Because as you said,
Yeah.
there is a toil. Everything requires a toil, but that toil requires balance.
Yeah.
Also requires rest because it's easy to become exploitative
Yeah.
with your labor, whether to your own self or to even other
To
people
people.
around you.
Yeah. That's true. How did you go about reconfiguring your label to allow for your own pleasure and rest?
I think it required like a lot of refusal in different ways. Like I think during that time, because I was doing the first year of my master's program with the last year of my bachelor's program, and I also had a job in the middle of Amsterdam, and it was a very terrible, exploitative job. Like that job was exploitation to the max. Like 8 hour shifts, you can't sit down. Your
Fuck.
boss is watching you through the camera. If he sees you not doing anything, they literally tell you pretend to do something. We don't care if you finished everything. Like he's literally measuring how much he's paying you by the hour. Like you must really work for
For
that hour.
you,
Like
yeah.
that's the type of work where they're literally measuring your value. And like even sometimes we'd close, it was like a bakery. You think a bakery was basic and simple, but in the middle of that city, hey, like especially the night shift, like we could close by 12, but then I was working with people that wanted to make money. So if people were still outside, we could be open till
It's up to
3
you.
a.m.
Oh wow.
just on the basis of like making
Making
more
money,
money.
yeah.
And I was looking at niggas like, ha, I don't know about you guys, but peace. Like I want to go home and I'm going to go home. Like I was physically tired. Like I'd have extreme back pain like coming back from work because I'd also then bike myself home at like odd hours at night and like I was just so tired and I'd be expected to go to school. I was writing my thesis at the time, starting the first year of this new program. There was so many things going on and I started having to realize what can I refuse right now? What can I do to actually like protect myself in this time? And low-key, I started like not really attending as much classes for my master's degree. But I was also just like, I already give so much emotional and intellectual labor to this space that you know what, you guys can deal with my absence. So like that can happen, you know, or like I even started embodying more and more African time because that was a big culture shock when I first moved to Spain when I realized people were actually punctual and pulled up on
Yeah.
time because that genuinely shocked me. I was like, wait, what? Like, huh? You guys actually come like when you say 1 o'clock, you don't mean start leaving your house
That's
at
what
1.
1 o'clock, yeah.
Like so I think I started coming back to the idea of like time and the linearity of time felt like such a big burden and form of oppression on me. So I was like, I believe time is like a cyclical thing. It's a spiral. And I think there's such thing as divine time. Like look I started looking at numbers and I don't really see it as like angel numbers, but I see it more as like a confirmation for something. Like you give the language to something. Like you can decide what it means. And for me,
Yeah.
yeah, for me, I was starting to like pay attention to science, like science in everything, science that will tell me right now someone might be saying you're late, but you're actually really on time. Like
Time,
I decided I was not going to be on Western time. I was going to be on my own time.
yeah.
And the moment I started putting things in my own time, I actually lost a lot of pressure from a lot of things.
Yeah.
It was crazy, Sha, because I was doing things in a very tiny space of time, but
Mm-hmm.
I was like accomplishing. Because I also realized that we tend to undermine the labor that it is to think about something. I think I saw this thing that said worrying is worshiping the problem. Like let's say if I'd have an essay due the next day by 12 midnight or something, I'd already be thinking about this essay 3 days, 1 week before, like, but I wouldn't be writing
Writing
it
it, yeah.
until the very last minute. So I'm like, just be real with yourself. You know you're going to do it in this time.
Yeah.
So rest, eat, do this. Because I'd be the type that would wake up in bed and I wouldn't go and shower or do anything until I wrote that paper. Or
Yeah.
like or I'd go to work like this. Or like, you know, I was doing a lot of things. I was just bypassing my body.
Yeah.
Bypassing my body. And I was like, no, like my body is actually like crying for help right now. And I'd rather just like prioritize my wellness
Yeah.
and everything else can follow. Like I need to meet certain criterias before I leave this house today. Like I need to like do this for myself, do that for myself, put myself first in different ways. I think capitalism is always just trying to say you're too selfish to do or
Yeah.
you know, I'm just like, no, like I didn't come here to
So far.
like to suffer for real. Like I don't
Suffering
give a
cannot be
fuck.
the point
Mm-mm.
for real.
Like centering enjoyments made me like decenter so many Western values.
Mm. Now we're going to talk about the biggest thing, legacy.
Legacy.
Yeah. What do you think about legacy? How important do you think it is?
When I think of legacy, I don't think of the future, I think of the past. I think of the past in the sense of how much I've spoken about ancestors and even just like my dad has a very, very interesting life and upbringing. And for the longest time, he's always told me, write my book about my life, this and that. Because he really like, it's crazy. I didn't know my dad's story until I was really 18 years old. And he shared certain things with me that just had me like, wow, this all makes sense. You know, like for me to have a strong sense of identity is something that makes me think so importantly of legacy, just by way of wanting to carry my own parents' names forward. Like
Yeah.
knowing that, wow, like their own story is a miracle on this earth. Like I am not a mistake. Like I'm something that was intentionally brought into this world by way of like circumstances that just suggest that, wow, like anything can happen. Like we can overcome things. Like who would have known? Like, this is what happens when you choose destiny. And yeah, just even my dad knowing his own grandfather's story, like my mom knowing her own parents' story, her grandparents' story, like, just tracing a heritage and knowing that these are the people you come from and these are the sacrifices they made, these are the things they went through, just has me like, wow, like I have a strong sense of family. I have
Yeah.
a strong sense of storytelling. I want to tell my story. I want to tell my parents' story. I want to tell my grandfather's story, my great grandfather's story. Just having that in me makes me then think of like, it's funny because I feel like as an artist, I'm expected to have my own website. I'm expected to like be archiving my own work stuff. But I'm at a place where I'm just like, you know what? I really believe that I will be important enough for other people to do this for me. Like to also want to like um and I'm saying this in the sense of knowing that yeah, it's hard, like especially in an era of like Instagram, social media, to like continuously have to present your work and the fact that you're creating. And I think I'm someone that I see the bigger picture so much so that I know that I'm creating a legacy where my grandchildren will care about me. Like they will want to know my work, and
Yeah.
it's not by my Instagram that they're going to find the work. Like the real archive is like what you're creating and offering into things bigger than you.
Yeah.
And there's certain stories, certain things I've written that I know will eventually touch light, but
Yeah.
maybe not right now. I'm not in a rush to immediately present everything to
Yeah.
the world as we know it, because this, I think I've unlearned this immediate audience. Like, if anything, I care about like my lineage. I care about what my ancestors think of what I'm making, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, and I think by caring about what they think, I know that me too, I'm soon going to
To
be
be
an
an
ancestor. Like,
ancestor.
and it will like that care will just be regenerated in other ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I was also thinking because when you talked about being more intentional in how we document ourselves, that was when I started thinking about like building something that like other people can look back on that will not be misrepresented. Like it will not be taken out of context. Like it made me more like be more intentional with what you decide to post, be more
Yes.
intentional with the image that you create. Because we don't realize
Yes.
that social media right now is like it's like a big diary. Like one day
Yes.
everybody is going to come
100.
back and
Yes,
this is
yes,
what people
yes.
see when they see you. So why not just like
Exactly.
be intentional about the kind of person you
Yes.
want to be, who you want to present. When you
Mm-hmm.
die, like, are people going to misappropriate you? Are people going to
Yes. Yeah,
there's a way
for
you put it. Did
sure.
you say misremember?
Yeah.
They will not like remember you in the way that you were.
Yeah.
And like your child sort of with the response you should care about. I feel like
Yes.
we don't care, our generation doesn't necessarily care about legacy anymore. We believe in the now. We don't want to
Mm.
think before us, we don't want to think
Mm.
after us. We want to think that
Yeah.
you're not just an entity, like
A huge part of liberation politics, like one of the first things you learn is, oh, reimagine a past in order to be able to imagine a
in
future.
future.
Because the past that exists is there, but it's written, it's from a very specific perspective.
Yeah.
There's so much of like memory, not history, that is out there that people can tap into.
Yeah.
So I feel like as someone that had to like start thinking so much about the past and dreaming of past that are even bigger than me, is like what allowed me to be able to be in touch with a future.
Yeah.
And then realizing, oh wow, as someone that at the age of 15, I was reading, watching, going through the archive, just looking for possibilities, being like, wow, this person existed during that time. Oh wow, like see how they were dressing in like post-independence Nigeria.
Yeah.
Our parents used to dress like this.
Exactly.
Like, seeing those things that had me like, damn, even like Nollywood, I had to tell Nolly babes, like, wow, thank you guys so much because you resurrected a new image in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And that was a nostalgia for the early 2000s to
Yes.
realize that our parents were once wayward. Even our parents, our aunties, like, there's an immediate generation of people that literally used to like dress in a particular
That
way,
type of
express
way.
themselves, even that Americana culture, like
Yeah.
knowing that there was a bunch of people that came back from Nigeria, from America, from UK. They were introducing hip hop. Like
Mm-hmm.
we also went through a swag era. Like I went through that
Yeah.
swag era. Wizkid coming out, Starboy, like we were all on that
Yeah.
like Shambhala, space cap, this and that, like cultural identity. and knowing that we need to see that to be able to be where we are now. Like
Yeah.
anything that's different, alternative, comes from the fact that, oh wow, there's black people all around the world that have always been self-expressive. This
Yeah.
idea that we should be like respectable is bullshit, because there's so many of us that didn't. Like, even just knowing that there was a time in Jamaica that a lot of Jamaican people dressed so colorfully and fly and
Yeah.
cool. Like, it was a London bridge to that, it was a UK bridge to that. Like, there was just so much like cross cultural things that happened all through like blackness and the image of blackness and style. That's just so important, and made me realize, damn, someone in the archives, like someone in the future, is looking for you in the archives right now.
Yeah.
There's someone that needs to know you were like this at
This.
this time,
Yeah.
so they too can be on what they're on
On
in that
their
time,
time.
you
Yeah.
know. So when I think of legacy, I'm like, no, I know I mean something to someone.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even matter if it's like one person, but like,
Yeah.
imagine, like, it could be someone from your lineage, it could be someone outside of your lineage, but
Yeah.
there's someone that will stumble across you and be like, whoa, this is my great grandmother. Like,
Yeah.
she was
I
like
was thinking
this.
about that the other day. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, my kids are going to be like, this is their mother. This is what she's up to. This is
Yeah.
how she's living her life. Like, you need to give. It's like almost like giving back.
Yeah.
Like I used to have this fear of being forgotten, and then I realized that like the only way to erase that fear is to just be like leave people with something, like, something bigger than you. Not just like
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about you. Like something better,
Mm.
something better that they can look from. Give them something to stand on.
Mm.
I think we kind of talked about this. I was going to talk about how, like, how social media can also still take you out of context,
Yes.
misinterpret you.
Yes.
How
That's
do
been
you
happening.
go about, like, yeah,
So I feel like for the longest time, I've always struggled with an online image, because, I mean, there was a time, like the first time I made Twitter, the reason I made Twitter, I was in second year of secondary school. I was in, no, actually, first year of high school, first year of secondary school. I was in boarding school. I met a senior. This senior, like, shout out Vivian, if you ever listen to this, I remember you very well. School mother. Vivian, she was like telling me, "Oh, you need to make an Instagram, a Twitter account, and you should use your name Chimira, but spell it in a different way to make it cool." So
mm.
like, I had a different spelling of Chimira, like Cheemirah. Like, I added a couple more letters to this name, and like, it was funny because she was telling me how like people are on Twitter and this and that, like, almost giving me social cues and rules.
Mm.
So like, even coming up in an era where I was on Instagram at a very fucking young age, like I was young as fuck, like on social media, and a lot of us were trying to, like, there was eras of different things that was cool.
Yeah,
How you edit your photo,
those
what
are
filter you use, what captions you use, like
yeah, the
even the
kind of
style, like
pictures,
style,
like the way you
everything,
pose,
the way you
everything.
pose. Like, there was an era where we were all doing the pouty face,
Yeah.
like even the
the
era of Snapchat filter, like the piece,
yeah,
like, there was so many models of how to be, and then
yeah,
eventually the rise of aesthetic, quote
yeah,
unquote. Like, that's when that started becoming a word that we became familiar with, and like, even just knowing that, oh, okay, at some point with the development of Instagram, there was different forms of feeds. Like, some people had like the feeds with whites, like
mm,
this and that, like, just different ways of like editing and creating like the online image that you want. And I think I was heavily invested in that, but more so from a perspective of knowing that I've always loved visual imagery. I've always like expressing myself visually. Like, from a young age, me and my sister would always pose for the camera for each other. Like, we're always styling each other. We're always giving each other, like, I wanted to be a model. Like, I like to model from a young age. So I think it makes sense that I kind of became invested in
mm,
what my social media should look like
yeah,
and what type of photos. And with the rise of Instagram models and stuff like that, I think it also became easy to look at a girl's page and be like, oh, this is my reference.
yeah,
Because people don't want to admit it, but people had mad references. So, like, everyone had a reference for something. Like,
yeah.
there's somebody's Instagram that you probably love so much that, like, oh,
Yeah,
I
you
want
want
my page to
to
be
look
like
like
this.
this,
Yeah,
yeah,
especially when you're young. There
yeah,
was certain bloggers, fashion bloggers that I really liked, and I was like, oh, like, I was just trying to know who was out there, and like, obviously there were certain people that I came across. I was like, oh, I'd like to like take photos like this. I'd like to do this like this, or I'd like to dress like this. But I eventually started to try to find my own self and my own image. And I think when we all realize we're unique, like there is no competition where there is uniqueness.
Yeah.
Like you can only but evolve into your greater self. And I've been through many different stages and levels. And by the time I started painting, I was feeling like very vain when it came to posting my pictures and stuff. I felt like, oh, I had to separate my face from my art so my art could be taken seriously.
Yeah.
So I even had like two separate accounts, one for my art, one for myself. But I was still so dissatisfied. And that's when I realized I'm trying to fragment myself and I'm a multiplicit person.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that social media is very two-dimensional, very one-dimensional.
Yeah, you have to for you to
You
get
know,
through the algorithm, you have to stay to
yes.
stay to one aesthetic, but
Yes.
they're different people.
Different people at different moments. Like
Yeah.
there's moments I don't even like that 24-hour story thing because sometimes I'm only feeling that shit for
For
just
like
like
2 hours.
or 5 hours. Like
Yeah.
if you catch it, then you catch it, you know. Because there's moments where I'm speaking up. So it's funny because now I'm at a place where I know that people are following me for different reasons. There's some people that are only invested in how I look. There's some people that are invested in what I'm saying from an academic standpoint. And those people aren't necessarily interested in me being like, y'all niggas love dick so much. Like, you know, because there's also the part of me that's very wayward and unfiltered. That might be cussing, that might also want to be sharing memes. Like there's a part of me that's literally still very young, still very Gen Z, and still very much like invested in online social media culture of like humor, especially black humor. Like me and my friends were always sending each other funny videos. Like sometimes I'm really in the oddest parts of like Nigerian like videos or memes or even African American stuff. So I feel like there's just different parts of me, and it's like, how do we hold spaces for all these parts, and like how do people really witness you? And I think that's where I'm no longer even thinking through the eyes of other people. I'm thinking through the eyes of myself. But even my own eyes can be very harsh because I think last year, because I was in Nigeria for as long as I was putting out so much content. I was working with different photographers. I was doing different things, and I was happy to just be sharing, sharing, sharing. And I think I started to even compete with myself. Like, how do I, like, trying to, like, or even measuring myself according to the scale of my other things that I've shared. Like, oh, this did that, so this should also do that. But I'm like, yo, actually, like, why am I even like that right now? Like, all me is okay. Like, even just the idea that because you posted it 2 years ago is no longer valid. Like, you know, that's how much people are so rooted in it now, in a continuous generation of things. I'm like, bro, you literally have over 700 posts and you're still like, you're even undermining what is already there. Like that is there. Just because it's been posted doesn't mean it no longer has value. Because as much as it's such an interesting paradox, because you release it and you feel like on one hand you're measuring the engagements it has with other people, but then on the other hand you're thinking of the next thing you want to share. Because that, like, that instant gratification has passed. Like, you know, you want to up it again, and it's like, it's very toxic, low-key. And I'm at a place where I'm just like, you know, I don't owe anyone anything because I've already shared everything I can even share, like throughout all the different mediums. Like I already have music on the internet. I already have my writing on the internet. I already have paintings. I have so many different, like I've put out so much creation that I don't owe anyone anything right now. Like I can actually choose to shut the fuck up if I want to. And also realizing that there's people that are heavily invested in what I share. So I tended to undermine that, and I was like, wait, so let me let me actually just not do anything right now. And it was funny because people actually reached out to me like, hey, I haven't seen you or this in a while. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Actually, it feels good to know that this is being recognized as a labor. Because me sharing my life the way that I do, like, as much as it's for me, I know that it's for other people, and not just other people in a beneficial way. There's people that just literally rooted in spectating, just watching. There's some people that like are literally just watching and they feel entitled to like what you're then sharing of yourself because it's like
they just want to see.
Yes, they want to see for the sake of seeing. That's crazy. But yeah, I do believe that my time on the internet is not going to be permanent. I don't dream of a future with a phone per se. My phone is 6 years old. I'm not going to update my phone. I'm definitely not going to buy any new Apple products. That's for sure. So I'm just like thinking in a way of how do I live life that's just so content, because I came to rely on like social media when I moved to like Europe, because I kept like my phone was always getting seized in Nigeria. So as much as I had a phone, it was very on and off. So by the time I was in Europe, like I needed to be online to be in contact with everyone back in Nigeria, not just in Nigeria, like in other parts of the world. Like I had so many friends everywhere just by way of the internet. And I feel like I dream of a time where, like, because even when I'm in Nigeria, like, I'm just around people on a regular, so I don't find need to be on my phone as much as I do be, like, when I'm in places where I'm more isolated.
Yeah.
So I dream of a future where I am, like, just so content with my immediate environment that I don't need
Yeah.
to distract or escape into anything. Like, it's just there. So in my head, like what I'm sharing now is just for now, because at some point I'm just going to leave the internet. Like whatever I've left there is more than enough. Like, I've already done my service. Like whoever needs that archive, whoever needs that world, like it's there for y'all. But I just feel like it's not going to be a continuous thing for me. Like even now, like I'm very guarded about what I share. Like I feel like I used to feel like I must immediately share,
Everything.
but now I'm like, you know what? Enjoy it for yourself. Offer this to something deeper than you. Because most times you don't even feel satisfied when you share. Because it doesn't
Yeah,
meet what you
doesn't
expect.
or it
Yeah.
doesn't resonate as much as you would like it to, or people miss the message, or
And it takes time. Like everything is a seed. So also
yeah,
realizing that what you create 2 years ago can matter in the next 5 years.
yes,
Like not
yeah,
everything is
things
made for this
now,
immediate
yeah,
consumption of it now. And I
yeah,
think so many people are so caught up in that immediacy. And I
yeah,
believe that there's things that I've shared that are still yet to be discovered
yeah,
and still yet to be appreciated the way that they need to be. Like it's still a resource.
yeah. Let me just sit with that. Let me sit with it for a bit.
Sit, sit.
How would you encourage people to be more intentional? Is there, like, if there was anything to say, to
Uh,
care, I guess, about how they document themselves?
I guess like just ask yourself, how do you feel when you're making this? Do you feel like you're really pressuring yourself to do it? Do you feel like, or if you feel anxiety around sharing, where does that anxiety come from? I think just asking yourself honest questions, and also just like asking yourself, who are you? Who is really you? Like, and knowing that you can be so unique and so different that you don't even need to compare that you to anybody else. Like, destiny does not have competition. Your own destiny is yours, and beauty can actually be rooted in liberation. Beauty is not necessarily a vain practice. I think the idea of trying to see the world from a beautiful perspective is very powerful. But you have to ask yourself, is that beauty free or does it cost something?
Mm,
Because if you're trying to see beauty as in luxury, and that's when the beauty is literally
mm,
like rooted in a value. So it's like, what is the value of your beauty? What is the currency of your beauty?
yeah,
And are you actually like, what is the cost of that beauty as well? Like
yeah,
what is the cost of maintaining that image? And if it really costs so much, then
yeah. So
nah,
that's not
nah,
it.
that's where it's really draining. Back to like, that's another labor of love.
Yeah,
Like treat this as a labor of love. Like who are you sharing this for? Why are you sharing it? Whereas like, like,
yeah,
and I think if you're really genuinely sharing it for yourself, for your own satisfaction, and for the ability to like, I think everything is a portal. I think the internet especially is a portal. I go on my page and I get lost sometimes. Like I like to look at it. I like to see the evolution. I know my page very well. So I feel like for me it's for me. Like it's for me to
yes, for
really like,
me,
it's like I made a world.
yeah,
Yeah. And it's powerful to make worlds.
yeah. Your own little space.
Mhm.
Create your own space. I've said this on the podcast like 3 times. Like, just make space for yourself.
Mhm.
Well, I think the final thing. Are you are you ready to
I'm
go?
ready,
Yeah.
I'm ready,
Okay.
I'm ready.
Is the mango tree analogy that you use, and this one really like this one I was like yes, because I hate the society, I hate the institution, I hate how like it's it kind of limits you and forces you to be a certain way, be a certain
Yeah.
thing, right? But then you talked about how like the mango tree, right? Could you just tell us, give us the analogy of the mango tree
Yes.
again?
So the analogy of the mango tree comes from me and my time working at the African University of Science and Technology here in Abuja. And I was part of the creation of this place called CADA, Center of African Design Advancements. And in this space, like we literally had little to no resources, and we transformed it into a space for like an exhibition space around like Afrocentric architecture and just like a resource hub. So like for books, lectures, just different things around not just like Afrocentric architecture, but also Pan African consciousness and identity. I came in from that perspective of like trying to facilitate programs. I had a film club, a Pan African film club, and a lot of the times like there just be no lights in that building, and like the heat in Abuja is crazy. Like it is
Fucking
so
crazy.
hot, like hot in a way that the sun is literally whooping your ass. Like it's like very violently hot. So I literally had to like come out of the office many a times, like when there was no lights, and like I'd sit under this mango tree that was literally directly under the office. And something that like really had me feeling like that campus was so blessed, despite the fact that like most of the buildings were deteriorated, was just the abundance of nature. Like I had my digital camera at the time, and I was taking so many pictures of nature around because I was just in awe, and it felt so blessed. And there was even like a stream somewhere like on the campus. But yeah, long story short, I would like go under that mango tree, and I met a lot of the caretakers of the land, which were like mainly women. And these are like the cleaning staff of the campus. And many times I'd hear like just so much noise, and then it'd be them and some of their children just playing, gisting. Like the first time I met them, like one of them was picking beans. One was getting her hair braided. Shout out Queen Victoria. She's like literally we still hang out to this day. And yeah, like I just became one of them. Like we would just be just saying, I'll be telling them what's happening in the office today. Like I even became involved in all the interpersonal drama and politics that was going on. Like we are really like a family, and the mango tree became this site of rest in the space of the institution. And for me, Wide Futures is a school of thoughts that I'm currently developing. And I realized that as much as I was like working under the school, I was also working through Wide Futures. So for me, like important moments of knowledge production came from moments where I could take pictures of the women under this tree. I could talk to them. We talked about Europe. We talked about Nigeria. Like we shared a lot of knowledge with ourselves. Like we were like talking about oppression so many times, and like I also witnessed the precarity of their lives because one of the women had like twins, and one of the twins passed away. But prior to the twin passing away, like she literally brought this child to me, and like they looked for me in my office, which was surprising. And I came out, and like she gave me this baby. I carried the baby, and she's like she can't even afford medicine or anything. And it was through White Futures that I just shared it online, got some money. The money wasn't even that much at first, but we got enough like after. But it was like literally the next day I heard the child passed away.
Oh no.
So to witness death like that in front of you, and realizing that these are the women that are toiling the most, like their labor is not necessarily intellectual, it's physical. Like they're doing so much physical labor for this school, and yet they're being paid the least. And like what they are experiencing in this country is just a severe hardship that's
Yeah.
actually taking lives. And like these women have an intuition for their oppression. They might not have the intellectual language to be able to articulate it, but they know what they are going through because they feel it.
Yeah.
They feel it in their tiredness, especially. So yeah, like the mango tree was like a big activator for me in realizing how I want to operate in this system. Like I believe in the idea of like being in the institution, but also always having one leg out
Out
of
of
it.
it. Yeah.
That's where the real transactions and the real redistribution of knowledge and resources happen. At some moments when we didn't have lights with the film club, we just go and sit under the mango tree. And the first time we did that, I was giving readings. Like we were just talking about life. Like we didn't need a film to dive into Pan African consciousness. Like it was so present, it was so potent, it was so charged, and the tree was a shelter. So also thinking of legacy and thinking of my own growth, I've been telling a lot of people that we're not growing like corn. Like corn is a fast crop. When corn grows, it grows immediately. Everyone chops the corn, it keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you grow like a tree, it's a slow and long growth. But then when you grow, like that shade is not for you, it's for generations to come. There's
Yeah.
people that will benefit from what you've grown
Done to
into.
be. Yeah.
And like you as a tree, you're also a shelter for so many other things. Like your roots literally don't even stay where you are. Like they
They
expand underneath. So
expand.
it's like a expansion that's like underneath the surface and above the surface. Like it's so deep, it's so rich, it's so full. And yeah, I'm trying to understand more and more what this mango tree symbolizes for me. I feel like it's just going to be a growing symbol. But for now, I really urge people to find their own mango tree. Where's a space that can really be a point of rest that is actually in nature? Because nature as well has so much intelligence. That's something I've been saying throughout this talk. Like
Yeah.
nature is something I look to be able to understand our own existence and how we function. And you cannot undermine nature's intelligence. Like artificial intelligence comes from nature's intelligence. All our technology is sourced from nature. Like nothing we have cannot exist without nature. Like
Yeah.
nature is the biggest resource on this world. Like nature knows more than us. Like there's a lot of things that we cannot even explain that happens in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so bigger than man. So yeah, I feel like we all have to like start to collaborate with nature and negotiate with nature the way it once was at some points in our society and find our place there. Like how do we who are the people that's even taking care of that piece of nature because they matter too, and typically they're probably the most exploited,
Yeah.
which is so crazy in this society. Imagine the people that actually take care, the people that actually clean, are the people that are considered like the underbelly of our society.
Mm. The ones that make you comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just have to find your space
Mm-hmm.
within the order. Excuse me, within the order.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, is what I took from that as well. I think we've covered everything here.
Yeah, I'm
So
glad.
we're now at the section that I told you beforehand that we dread. If you said what section?
Oh, the summarizing
Yeah.
part.
If you could, with everything that you said, what could you give as like a call to action for people, or what would you want people to leave with the most? What do you want them to hear?
Um, as much as we're individuals in this society, we're very much a collective. And I feel like we just all should try to be ourselves in order for other people to also be
Themselves.
themselves.
Yeah.
Um, Liberation is not a metaphor, it is actually a practice, and we need to bring ourselves back to that practice. Like all theory, all intellect comes from the lived experience, and we all have a lived experience. And there's ways that healing your own trauma can like literally not just liberate others, but liberate your own lineage, your own generation. There's things that your ancestors have been through that they don't want you to go through. There's things that they are dealing with that they want you to like overcome in order to like heal something in your line. um and yeah, nature is always there for us. like it's not man versus nature, even though it might seem that way in this world today. So yeah, I hope people can, start to pay attention more to everything and like develop more languages for how to live life. Because I think, however you live will be so different from how I live, which will be so different from how this person lives. But last is going to inspire something, and it will inspire more uniqueness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, do you think you learned anything new, or did you just reaffirm everything that you knew?
Mm-hmm. Did I learn anything new? I feel like I don't know. I probably have to listen to this back and be like, I was saying that, like, because I just have to say, like, this conversation has been a practice of rememory, and I want to acknowledge that we're doing it in my bedroom right now. And
Yeah.
there's incense, there's candles, there's things that make me feel at home. So I know that my tongue is very fluid right now because
Mhm.
I'm very much connected to
Yeah.
like the collective consciousness.
I
Like
love that.
anything I say is not just me. So yeah, if anything, I'm just like very thankful to my ancestors, thankful to nature that, I can actually have the gift of like orature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you have the gift of storytelling.
Mm,
I
thank
believe
you.
that too.
Thank you. Thank you for this as well. Like it's really blessed to have this in Abuja, and especially because I'm leaving in like a day. So I'm just like,
Sad.
damn, like this is crazy.
So sad.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the pod. I hope we can have more conversations in the future. Um, yeah, nobody was more excited than me for this conversation, and I think like it was such a good conversation. So thank you. Um,
Yeah, could I ask you if you took anything away from this? And
I think I took a lot, right? But then at the same time, it just reaffirmed stuff that like
mm-hmm,
I feel like I wanted to have this conversation more so to see like the behind the scenes of like the thought process I've been seeing you put out
mm-hmm.
online. Um, yeah, I'd also still have to listen back to like
Yeah,
cement for
digest.
sure, but like I
Yeah.
know I took a lot, so yeah, I'm definitely going to listen to it on the
Nice.
yeah. Okay. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. Like, subscribe, follow us everywhere, leave a
Yes, tap in,
comment,
tap in, tap in.
tap in, and join the conversation.
Mm.
So till next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.